I just finished watching Fresh Off the Boat Season 5, and I'm very sad that this is coming to a close because I only have one season left, and apparently, and I haven't looked at this, but apparently there are less episodes. I love this show, and today we are going to be reviewing it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. So, disclaimer, it's always a little difficult to actually dive into, like, plot reviews for its sitcom because, obviously, it's one of those background shows that's made to make you laugh, but there are, like, little bits and story pieces over here, so I don't know how long this video is gonna go. There's a couple things that I want to glance over, a couple things that I'd like to sit down and talk about. So let's get started with Jessica's book being a massive failure. She ends up coping by bothering Honey and pretending like that there was this, I can't remember what it was something like a Chinese custom that she was just saying like, okay, I need to take care of you. So she's overbearing, she's driving Honey crazy. All of that was really fun, but we're also in the same episode left with Eddie losing Nicole. And man, something that I didn't really like about the later half of this season was the lack of the side characters. I love the main family. They're all great, and the seasons and the episodes were all still great. But we didn't get that much Honey. We didn't get that much Marvin. And I don't like that Nicole left. Nicole was one of the best characters in the show. I get that Eddie was struggling with losing her, and it was really emotional having, like, actually watching her take off and having Eddie struggle with all of that. That was great to watch, but I missed having her around in episodes. I finally came around to her because I hated her in season 1. But with that, we have a classic, and I feel like how many Halloween episodes have been there? We have another great Halloween episode. They always kill it with those ones. I like it and how much they like, and they end up like mentioning the past Halloween episodes as well. We have a little of a story with the grandma being annoyed with Evan, which was pretty funny too, and it turns out she was just upset because Evan was always correcting her stories. That was all funny to watch. We have Honey and Marvin with the baby. They couldn't decide on a name. But this is what I'm talking about when I have problems breaking down sitcoms, because what am I supposed to say about that? It wasn't until we get into a following episode where the new couple comes in. And I'm sad that we didn't really get to see much of them, but Jessica ended up just pushing them off. It's the only other Chinese couple. They ended up hitting it off, and Jessica got really jealous because they have this, like, super successful son, and it turns out he's just a cab driver, and then she was just playing it up. And then Jessica, being the person she is, completely looked down upon it, called him something like a waste of potential, and we didn't really see them too much after that. On top of that, Lewis was a little bit worried that his best friend Marvin was being taken away from him, just to realize, oh my god, we were just telling our favorite Lewis stories, and we were just baking for Lewis, like, classic, but it was good. But now we move on to a little bit more, because we have the entire story of Jessica. Well, she doesn't want to be an author anymore, and she kind of pretends like it doesn't exist. Like, I think there was a couple times where she was like, what book? I love all of that. She's a funny character. She always wants to be perfect, right? She moves in, and she wants to be principal because she had a problem with one of Eddie's teachers. The only teacher that was able to connect with Eddie, and the only teacher that was able to make Eddie want to do some homework. She had a problem with that. Honestly, understandably so with the way that he was being described, but he ended up being a great teacher. So she was interested in being a principal of a school, which led to, and I don't know if she's ever going to succeed at that, but now she wants to, like, own a school, or Jessica Juan's Harvard University. It's just funny the way that she's so, like, confident in herself and the dreams that she wants to accomplish. You know what? That's honestly a good thing. She's awesome, but it's just funny because it's, like, so out there, right? So she fails at that. Or, I mean, she kind of fails at that. She wants to get a job. Was it a vice principal? Is that what she ended up doing? She ended up getting a position, or trying to get a position at this point, higher up within the school. Meanwhile, Eddie gets a job, and this is something that I didn't mention within the Halloween episode. Eddie gets a job at a mattress store. For some reason, doesn't want to work at Cattleman's Ranch because he wants to be independent. He doesn't want any special treatment. That's crazy. If I could work for my dad, I would work for my dad. Give me the special treatment. I've never understood people like that, where it's like, no, I don't want to work for my dad. I would love to work for my dad. Who wouldn't? I mean, like, I get, like, there's bad parents out there, but my dad, I would love to work for him. But then he ends up hiring Trent, which is awesome. Trent really grew on me this season. Like, he doesn't call him Mr. Wong anymore. Hey, Lewis, how's it going? And they're, like, best friends. They share the same visions, the same, like, I don't know if corny is the right word to describe it, like, corny things that Lewis does around the restaurant. Trent's like, yeah, you got it, boss. All of that was great. Eddie got jealous and tried to get Trent fired, though. We have a couple funny episodes there after that, which there really isn't anything to break down, where Eddie takes a van, Evan gets a girlfriend, and Jessica kind of interferes with that because she's worried about losing her boys. She kind of does the same thing with Eddie after Eddie wanted to visit Nicole for Christmas. And we also have the funny episode about a movie that I can't remember what the movie was about. It's in the 90s. It's before my time. I don't remember what the movie was about, but everybody got annoyed with Lewis. That was pretty good as well. And we had a really funny episode about Jessica and Lewis winning a vacation, but it turns out to be a help for couples, like couples getting ready for divorce type thing. All of that's so ridiculous. And they ended up actually sitting back and like working on the relationship. But I was thinking like, oh my God, this is so stupid. When I watched a show with my wife and I was looking at her and I was like, if anybody ever suggests something like this to us, laugh in their face. That's crazy how those types of things work. Just be adults and fix your relationship. After a couple more episodes, we get into the Valentine's Day episode. And this is where it got a little bit more interesting too, because they're diving a little bit deeper into the story. So Valentine's Day rolls around. Eddie is all upset that he doesn't have a girl, but he has a secret admirer. He has to figure out, he pretends not to care about it, of course, but he decides to be out. And at some point, he got a job as a delivery driver for Cattlemen's. He's ended up working for his dad. Still doesn't want to be the special treatment kid. Crazy, but whatever. He's driving around, but at the same time, it was somebody he delivered food to that day. So he's going back, asking everybody along with Honey who the secret admirer was. It was suggested that Trent just wanted to make him feel better about Valentine's Day because I guess he goes crazy on Valentine's Day, but he decides that it was Honey. And he's like, well, you did give me that suggestive hug when we met to help me with my friends. And Honey's like, I forgot about that. And yeah, he thought it was Honey that whole time. But little did we know, it was revealed to be Trent's sister. And you know what? I'll talk about that right now because I will never, I guess it must be like young love, right? But I could never understand, like, don't get me wrong, the actress is great. She's great at what she does. But imagine liking someone like Trent's sister. Oh my God. Like, make it like, I get girls kind of do make you better versions of yourselves, but to have a condescending one like that, oh my God, I would never in a million years deal with something like that. How? But then again, I think back and I was like, okay, we would have dealt a lot. We would have dealt for a lot if you're like a starving, I don't know how old he is in the show, a starving like 15-year-old or whatever Eddie's supposed to be in that show. Putting myself in those shoes, perhaps things would be different. I'm just thinking about like my 27-year-old self. Could you just imagine dealing with somebody like that? Crazy. Eddie was horrible though. You don't do that. I don't care how much the sister ended up liking you. You don't go out with your best friend's sister. That's complete bro code. That is ridiculous, and I can't believe that he went along with it. He's lucky that Trent is just a guy who likes love and wants the best for his sister. It's nice, but Eddie shouldn't have done it under any circumstance whatsoever. They were having fun. They dated in secret. They broke up, and she wouldn't take him back. In between that, we had a couple more episodes. One of them with Evan not wanting defense because he wasn't perfect. He ended up getting destroyed by a girl, Evan, but there was that other episode, which is really weird too, where Emery was skipping out on volleyball practice and he went to a bar to go dancing. That was stupid, okay? And they made it like a big moment where it's like, okay, Lewis just needs to respect what his son wants and not be so overbearing. I get the message behind it, but when Evan like walked away from him and was like, I'm going to go dancing, and be like, excuse me? Like, what's funny is I find myself adapting a little bit of my father's mindset now that I'm a father myself. And I know I haven't dealt with any of this stuff yet, but I already know how I'm going to handle that stuff. My dad would have been like, all right, you live here at this bar now. And you wouldn't have let me back home. That is the proper way to do things, where it's like, excuse me, and maybe just give a chance to come home. But my dad wouldn't have done that. He would just be like, all right, you live at this bar now. Don't come home for 2 weeks or whatever. Like, it's the way to do stuff. It's ridiculous, man. I can't believe the way that Lewis was getting disrespected like that. But now we continue on, and Eddie wants to go on this trip to Taiwan because he has a new bad influence in his life. He fights with his mom. He runs away. Realizes that it's not that great, but Jessica was so worried about him that she was pretending, so made for some funny moments right there. After they ended up fighting a bunch, Eddie proved to her that he was responsible. He can cook. He can take care of himself. He renovated that other dude, the name's escaping me, his apartment. And she lets him go to Taiwan by himself, take a trip all by himself. In the meantime, though, Evan is still trying to impress Trent's sister because she still won't take him back. Ridiculous. But he's like, oh, like, it's crazy, man. Young love is insane, like the things that we would do. Because I had to like actually put myself in like, all right, would we have done that? I don't think I would have gone that far as a kid. I don't think I would have. But hey, you know what? If you're starving, I guess, right? In the meantime, Jessica's going back to school. She promotes Evan to vice mommy. He starts being really controlling. had some funny moments over there. Eddie with his new driver's license had to drive Evan around with his friends, but the friends think Eddie is awesome, and Eddie got them like loving rap and all that. That was great too, where he's like, bumping to some music, and the kids in the back, and Evan's like, I apologize for his behavior, okay? And the kids are like, all of that was pretty good. Evan ended up lashing out. I understand why he lashed out, but I don't know. My brother and sister and I, we just merge our friends. I don't understand why most families don't do that. Like, my brother's friends are my best friends, and then like I don't even call them at this point in my life my brother's friends, like, and vice versa. I've had my friends from school. My brother came along and we all got together. Same with my sister just a little bit, but you get my point. Like, I don't understand why most families just don't do that and they get jealous of each other. But then Eddie actually ends up going to Taiwan, and because the girl wants what she can't have, he officially has a girlfriend too, and it doesn't go well. He ends up meeting someone, having some fun, getting lost, blowing all his money, blowing all of the minutes on his phone, so he's like officially homeless and getting mugged. But then Shang-Chi comes in and saves the day. Dude, they have everybody on this show. I don't understand. Like, it's funny, don't get me wrong, but I don't understand why this show spends so much money on getting someone like Shang-Chi to just play in one episode of a guy who takes Eddie in and lets him use his phone. But then it was funny because Eddie used long distance and didn't really know about it. He ended up taking a car because he wanted a cheeseburger on the news. Hilarious. The grandma ended up seeing him on TV. He got banned, and his brothers got banned, and he had to come home. I didn't think that trip was going to last, and it was only a few weeks anyways, but that was a really good part too. Within this final episode, though, we have a whole conversation like, okay, if the other kids want to do the exchange program, Eddie has to publicly apologize. Jessica, being the idiot that she is, won't. And Lewis is completely right in this scenario. I get the whole thing about standing up for yourself. I get the backstory thing that she had. But sometimes the battle's not worth it. Just apologize. But I guess it's like a guy versus girl type thing, right? You know, the battle isn't worth it. And then guys will just be like, all right, I'm sorry. Even though like they don't mean it, but the fight's not worth it. This is your children that they're talking about. And they made it a big moment where it's like Jessica doesn't want their kids to feel the way that she felt a long time ago. Ridiculous. Lewis was completely right. I am sad that I'm coming to the end of the show, and it's going to like probably be at some point like one of my comfort shows. I hate using that term because it's so cringe, but you guys know what I'm talking about with comfort shows, where it's like you want something on, you put it on, okay? But I don't sit down and go, I need my comfort show, you know? I just, I know how that sounded coming out of my mouth. Season 6, we're almost here. I hope we see more side characters because that's the only issue that I had with the season. Other than that, it was great. The episodes are really funny. It's a little difficult to break down a sitcom, but hopefully I did my best and hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Why don't you check out the season 1 review we did of this show? I would love to have you over there. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care, guys.